0, 1. Let's get started.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today, it's in the title, Ford Escort RS1600i. We found some bad bits. What we thought was quite a clean shell has had some minor repairs over the years. It's got a bit of corrosion. There's no corrosion now, it's just holy. So in this video, I'm going to disclose to you all of what we found. We're going to get some primer on it, and we're going to just get on with it. We've got no choice. This has got to go back to standard, to nice, to, you know, not concourse, but a real good example of a 600i. So, if you haven't already, don't forget, hit that subscribe, because a lot of you are watching this video and haven't subscribed yet. But to me, it means the world. So, let's get on. In the last episode, we completely stripped down the whole interior of this vehicle. It came here as a rolling shell. It's now, well, bare and stripped. We started the blasting process, which again revealed what I'm about to show you. Now, would you say that this is worth saving? We also had to remove every inch of that interior because all the wiring loom came out of that hole there. So let's get on with it. Let me tell you what we found. Let's start with the engine bay. So what we thought was a very clean engine bay that Jason had dry ice blasted by another company has shown that this whole area here, and when we started to blast it off, it was actually a red battery tray. So what they've done, they've cut a battery tray out of a red vehicle and slotted it in place. I'm still not quite sure what's going on here. There's some kind of corrosion around the bolts, but it seems to have eaten itself, which is a bit of a repair we've got to do. Up here along the edge, you can see where that panel's been, it's not been cut in, it's been slid over, which I will pan round now to the interior, and you'll see there, see here, it's been, that's the original car, and it's just been slot over the top and welded over. So again, something we've got to tidy up, we've got to improvise. In the last episode, you guys have seen that we'd snapped off the bolts for the bonnet, and you can see there why, but that panel itself has already been repaired before. And what's happened is the new metal that's gone in, or part of the old vehicle, sometimes some metals just can't go together and it's decided to eat itself. And I've noticed quite a few of the panels, or the repairs across this, have also done the same. It's been a bit of repair there. So that whole corner needs doing. We're gonna have to tidy up this engine bay here along the battery tray. We've got a bit to do here. Other than that, I'm very happy. We'll just zip under here. So we have, all along here, it's had a repair here, which we're just going to tidy up because it is solid. It just wants tidying up. It has had a new front panel. You can see there, the same situation as the battery tray. Someone has done a mild restoration on this vehicle, and then they've waxed oiled over it just to coat up to make it look like it hasn't been done. So there's quite a few bits along the way that we're going to find. But in general, you know, chassis legs are all good. Both sides of those chassis legs are good. There's a few bits here where the panel joins, look, and another little patch here. So it's not rusty as such, the engine bay. Well, it's not rusty at all now. We've removed every... There, you can get a better view of that now. You can see there what I said about the repair. It's not rusty as such, it just wants a bit of love. You know, certain bits like this, it was a hole for a popper. Might have been what happened there, and the hole's gone corroded. Okay, so that's the engine bay. There's not a lot on there that we can't do. Again, the front panel, we're going to leave as is. You know, we've blasted the bottom section because it was rusty along the valance, and we're going to be painting all underneath. The car is now going for a full respray, so it's going to have exactly everything stripped back. So we've just done these lower valances just to keep them tidy. Also makes it a lot easier on the painter, because then he doesn't have to try and remove the rust. It's easy for him. So, in the arches then, the arches aren't too bad. All the front's good. Look how thick this seam sealer is. The blaster just struggled to get it off. It was such an effort. But we come here, and then, as we've already spoken about, the inner panel, and this is the bottom of that battery tray, which also will get fixed with the engine bay. Down here, there's a few little holes, just, you know, a few surface, bit where water sat. We're gonna have to weigh up whether we're gonna take the wings off or we can repair that without. This side then, the seal's really nice. There's the odd hole underneath, which I'll show you in a sec. Inside, majority of it's okay. I've just shown you the bottom of the battery tray, but all of this is actually really nice. There's a few little bits, but nothing major. There's a few pinholes in the floors, a few bits that have been repaired, but nothing we can't chase around. Now, that's not rust, that's heat. We had to use the blowtorch to heat up because it was so thick in there. But they actually are really good. We've got the usual areas down here, a bit down here, and a bit of the lower valance here, which again, really common on these. It's a panel you can buy. And the arch itself is actually really good, apart from a bit of the lip, which again we'll work on. We can get that sorted. Again, because it's going for paint, we've done the whole back of the rear valance. That just gets rid of all the tatty bits. There's a bit of rust here, but again, because of this lower edge, it's another bit that needs doing. This side is the worst side. The seal itself has had some kind of overlay. We have to speak to Jason, see what he wants to do there, whether we're just going to try and half tidy that up to make it nice. He's already had this part of the section done. And again, this archway, which I'll overlap now, the heat process. So even with all of that flame in there, you can still see that it still is really thick. I'm really having to chisel away at that. So there's definitely no chance of any distortion. Right, let's put it in the air and let's show you the underneath. So if you might have previously seen, Jason himself had started sanding, wire brushing down the hole underneath of this car. He'd then primed it, but we needed to remove all that just to make sure there was nothing that was left. And I know now that's fully metal that we are going to prime and get covered over to protect. Then helps us that there's no contaminants under there, or at a later date something might happen to it. I know 100% that it is back to what it should be. So under here then really, here, just a bung, which is good. So the bung's gone rusty. If there are small little bits of holes that you can just see in the light. See the light just beaming through certain little pinholes. Unfortunately, pinholes are a welder's nightmare because a pinhole turns into a big old hole. Usual areas, Jason's old Series 1 RS Turbo, these are completely gone, but has had some kind of minor little repair. We've got a bit on the floor to do here, again, just some pinholes. This is probably the worst bit. We're gonna have to do some kind of repair to that. Work out if we're gonna take the wing off or how we're gonna do that. There's a few little bits in there. Again, this side's really good. It has been well protected, which is not a problem. And then right underneath, again, these are normally quite bad. Jason Series 1, that was completely missing. So it's generally not too bad at all. You work your way along. Again, like we've already spoke about these areas, but you can buy them as a panel. That's good. We've got just seeing the top of the spring housings. We're not going to take them off. Literally, they are solid. It's good. There's a little pinhole here, but the top of it wants repairing, so we can do that in place without moving them. Problem with moving them is you'll never know where to put that back, and that houses the spring. So we've got no choice here. We've got to get on with this. We've got to start the welding. But firstly, what we're going to do, we're going to put some masking tape over the top of some of the real bad rusty areas. And then I'm going to get a good coat of prime on it. Reason I'm going to use the masking tape is just so then the prime itself isn't going onto the areas that I'm only going to have to cut and dress and make nice anyway. And also then, I can have a second look over to see if there's anywhere that I've missed. And with the masking tape not there, it will have a clear indication of where I need to weld. Okay, so just before we mask and tape it up, one thing I'm going to show you guys is, you look how clean that metal is. Okay, now, blowtorch, this will just quite show you how much moisture gets into metal panels. And again, another reason why, like when we powder coat, we preheat everything to outgas it. But watch this. It's relatively bad at the moment just because it's quite damp in the air and this has been here a couple of days. But anywhere I'm going to prime, I'm literally going to run across now and just warm it all up. You can see there that I've done that patch already. So all of that moisture's already out of that. So I'll just run across with the blowtorch and just dry the whole thing out before we put some primer on it. The good thing is, this doesn't take that long to do. We're literally just, you can see there, I've probably done nearly half of this car already, just from the blowtorch, just removing that moisture. So it's 100% definitely worth doing, and I recommend that if anyone else that tries to do any kind of bare metal work, do the test and just quite see how much moisture is in it, because it's definitely worth doing. So, without further ado, let's get the gun out and the masking tape, and let's get on. Okay, so the time lapse there of us literally every bit of masking tape, just pan across there, every bit of masking tape means there's a hole or needs some kind of repair. So we're just going to lower it down now, finish off the arches, finish off the rest of the bits to tape before we get the primer on, and I'll just pan back over the inside once we put some more tape on. That's all the tape inside the car, that's all the tape in the engine bay, and the last few bits in the wheel arches. When it was lower down, we'd done the rear wheel arches as well. So everything now has a blob of tape on it where I know that it's going to save me from having to grind that primer off I'm just about to put on. So I'm going to give it one good coat now of primer just to protect it, to stop it from rusting. There's a high chance that once we finish the welding here, we may blast it again, which is quite common for projects like ours, like the Mark 1 Escort. Again, if you haven't seen the Mark 1 Escort, nip over to that video. We have two big projects on the go at the moment, the RS1600i and the Mark 1 Escort, both ticking along with the progress. Another good thing about this primer is it's really quite thick, so that's just one good coat there. So the reason you've seen we've only been around it once is because we only really do need to go around it once. And there it is, the whole shell, one very good dusting of primer with all our little masking tape areas. So once that's dried off, I can then pull the masking tape off to each area that I go to weld. We're going to get Jason over and we are going to get him to buy some of the end spats, some of the inners. We'll probably get him to buy an arch. Anywhere we think we might need something that can save, well, basically it's going to save him money from him buying the panel, because we have to start making the panel. He's got to pay us to make the panel. He's then got to pay us to fit the panel and weld it in. At least if he's already bought the panel, It's probably going to be already pressed. Some of them aren't that great, some of them, you know, but it's still got half the shape of what we need. And I need him to look over certain areas that he wants, you know, some of the old patches where we're going to cut them out and actually weld a bit in there, which I think we are going to do. I'm more going to tell him that's what we're going to do. You know, this thing needs to be nice. And how many other RS1600i's in the country are going to be this nice? So guys, I'm going to leave that there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's loads more in this coming. The next job, start tackling those areas of the welding, start seeing if we're going to buy some repair panels or see if we're going to make our own panels. We've got pan folders, English wheels. We've got all the tools to make the metal. Like I said before, just depends what Jason wants to do. Guys, thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Keep it real.